And another thing is that if you remember in the sets, the Toa Hordika are more likely to have two. They do have hands. They do have regular hands, and they carry two tools. If you can see, let me just find it. Oh, here we are. Here we are. If you can see on Mattel, he has a hand here, and he has a hand here. But in the film, they decided that the left arm is the only one with a bare hand, meaning they kind of extended this piece here, meaning, here's what I mean. Let me just get back to that again. Okay. This is served as a upper limb, and they kind of build another piece here to make a lower limb, and they have and the hand becomes and the hand transforms becoming thumbless. Thumbless means, here's what I mean. Here's the hand right here. When transformed, watch the thumb. Watch this thumb. It transforms instantly, and then it becomes this. A thumbless hand is kind of like this. Yes. And the right arm doesn't have a bare hand at all. Doesn't have a bare hand at all. It's just a tool glued as a third, meaning the right arm has a third, meaning the tool becomes a third limb of the hand. And they fold back when they're not in battling time. When they fall out, and they fall to the front when it is battling time. The film, I think the filmmakers wanted to make it more dramatic. That the transformation is kind of worse than you think. But even though, according to Canon Limit, they do have 4 fingers and a thumb in each hand, and the left arm is short length, the right arm is long length. And the Ratuka launchers are more and when the Ratuka launchers are folded back, like in the film's way, like you can see the Ratuka launcher is kind of clipped down like this before it flips open, before it folds open when he's prepared to fire. Kind of reminds me of the Tometru back torsos. When I looked at one of the scenes, Rudaka, it says Vakama is everything she hoped he'd be. But when I saw the film, it actually turns out they do have a Hordika back. That thing there was just a Ratuka launcher that folds open when he's prepared to fire anybody. And then in the trailers, when I said and betrayed by one of their own, I was guessing Vakama becomes an evil guy, and then according to the film, he does. By watching the film every single time and looking on Bionic 601, I was able to understand why. Because he's Hordika, he got taken over by his own emotions, and not being trusted by the others for his team leader, for his control of being a team leader, kind of depressed him a lot. And Rudaka even in his Hordika condition, and because his emotions took him over, Rudaka made him believe the others wouldn't accept his leadership. Thus, that's what caused him very enraged enough to try to destroy the others. In return, she gave him a chance to control the Viserak Horde. So the 5 other Toas. So story-wise, if I was in that universe, the 5 other Toas thought their advantage would be easy. They thought the 5 other Toa thought that their advances would be easy. Without Vakama. Then think again. They were wrong. They kind of turned into a hard piece of fail mission, as in, like Nakama said, which was caught by the Viserak. Without him, they are destined to fail. And yeah, I now remember the Rahaga. Remember the Rakshi heads in Mask of Light, where just nothing but shells that fold out when the Rakshi screech. I thought the Rahaga heads would be like that, and it'd be like, and how can they talk through there? But technically, the Rakshi heads do look like the Rakshi heads from the actual sets, from the actual Rakshi sets. The Rahaga were filmed. The Rahaga's heads are exactly like the ones in the sets with mouths. The Rakshi are the only ones who are film fight compared to the ones in the sets. So other Rakshi are the ones different from the sets. The Rahaga's ones are still the same. You can see here, the Rakshi heads don't look like that in the Rakshi in Mask of Light, but the Rahaga, the heads are exactly the same. I think because they need to give them mouths. And yeah, Coolis, he's one of the guys whose voice actor is not mentioned, while others are known. Norik, Gaaki, Bamonga, and Iruni. Of course, the only one who doesn't talk, which we cannot have to worry about at all, is Pooks. He's the only Rahaga who never talked in the film, nor did he need to talk in the comics. Comics and films, that was the only thing Pooks could never talked. I think in the novel books he does. I'm gonna be honest. I never bought the novel books. I think it's because I didn't have time to get money for that. All I have to do is finish buying the comics and I'll think about it. And of course, Pooks did talk in BionicSword.com when they were Toahaga, if you remember Dwells in Darkness and whatsoever in 2008. And one thing that I did not get how the hell it was fast enough is that if you remember the Colosseum, that it used to be like regular, no heads manufactured molded into the gates. But if you look in the when you look in this film's version of the Colosseum, you can see Cyttorak heads built into it. The Cyttorak heads around the fields in the Colosseum when the Viserak come out in the Battle of Metru Nui. The gateway with the Vakama slammed the door so hard to get Cyttorak's attention. Somewhere where he shows proof that he captured the 5 Rahaga. You can see the head that has a voice coming out of it where he goes, "We do not welcome your kind here, we exterminated." The head is manufactured to look like Cyttorak. Everywhere else is manufactured into Cyttorak's head. Like that's kind of fast, because that was kind of fast, because once Cyttorak came to Metru Nui after Terrax was defeated, they quickly built those heads around everywhere. Is it me, or was it the Maze of Shadow storyline where the Tometru had adventures in the island of Metru Nui? Took a longer while before they came back to Metru Nui? Because if that's true, then that means the Matoran stuck in the Colosseum would have been fully in a dying condition. And if you saw Anua on the archive, looking at the archive tablet at the end of the film. And Norikex claimed in the ending, when Norikex claimed to panic after Dark Speed, I was able to understand why. I did not know about this until now. Was that Pterodax escaped that seal? And exactly I know how. I now realized why. Because the Tower defeated them with their elemental powers: fire, stone, earth, water, air, and ice. And if you fire the same exact amount of elements again, it would do a reverse. Of course, he ain't the only one who escaped. When Tao's group defeated Karak and Garak in 2002, they thought they would remain in that way, and then they stopped the Borak off from releasing them. But then the 2007 story blog, Tonova blog, the task to awaken in Metru Nui kind of forced them to release Karak and Garak. Of course, he ain't the only one who would have obviously got out. And Bionic Sector said the Rudaka kind of knocked out after Vakama's Ratuga blast, and the Shadow teleported her. I'd rather think it can say it that way, while I'd rather think different. That the Fire Spinner did kill Rudaka. Like her real heart light is behind that stone that he padded onto. When the Fire Spinner hit through her, it did release Pterodax. It did release Pterodax, yeah. So it might make sense why he attacked the island of Metru Nui in 2001, while the Fire Spinner reached through her real heart light, killing her. It reached through her real heart light, and then she got killed instantly. And the Shadow Hand, and the reason the Shadow Hand came out, here's why I think better. The Shadow Hand grabbed into her, and absorbed her into Pterodax's system. Think like the way Pterodax absorbed Najin Krekni Vork's bodies into his own. He did the same with Rudaka. Want to know why I rather think that well, no, why if I did think what I did think about was true, because he employed Cyttorak, and he assured he lets Cyttorak live if after he keeps on the Matoran to prevent the token from getting their hands on it, and then until Makuta got out. But because Cyttorak's already killed and Rudaka smiled at that, he decided to punish her. And second of all, if you saw the Federation of Fear, if you read Federation of Fear in BionicSword.com, you know the many of Cyttorak's kind are chasing Rudaka like a dog, due to her actions, wanting to get rid of Cyttorak. And now she's now a hunted dog by the Steltians.